Hello, Dale Majors here. Let me just jump right into this. I've got 5 success killers that I want to share with you that I've learned over coaching entrepreneurs and business owners over the last several years. And I've learned this through my experience growing a company and selling over $50 million online. So let's jump right in. First success killer that business owners have is their goals are too vague. They don't know, they just don't have any detail behind them. So they know that they want to run their business, they might have a revenue goal, but they're not built out. They don't have a comprehensive plan for their goals. And if they do, then a lot of times they're in one way or in some way or another, just the goals are lacking. So, and most of the time it comes down to they may have a good big picture goal, but they don't have the tactics and the strategies to back it up. Sometimes they have tactics and strategies, but they don't have a good endpoint, so they never really celebrate successes. They're just always grinding. And being too heavy on a big picture goal or too heavy on tactics, they all carry their own issues. So we actually share a formula that's called HATS for goal setting that helps build a much more comprehensive, robust goal. So if you felt that you haven't had good goals in the past where you just haven't felt a good comfort level around it, then I suggest you check out our goals framework. So you can put your goals into that framework, so you can have the big picture, but then all the way down, nail things down, drill things down to the nitty-gritty. So that would be step 1, is your vague goals, build them out and make them clear. So you want to come up with clear goals. So tip number 2 and success killer number 2 that I've seen is people spend too little time planning. And that may seem really simple, but it's amazing how a 2-hour strategy planning session once a week, how much value that can add to the next week and keep people on track with their goals. So I love the quote that's attributed to Abraham Lincoln. If I've got 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'm going to spend 4 hours sharpening my axe and then 2 hours cutting down the tree. There's so much value that comes from a routine, a habit of planning. Every Friday is when I do it. Every Friday afternoon, I take aside 2 hours, always more time than I need, to get really, really clear on my planning process. And I actually share a tool that's called the Dry Run, and we also have a weekly planning checklist that helps you take a look at all of your key roles in life and then make sure to plan and to put in those priorities that are most important to you. Success killer number 3 is people lack an ambitious plan. A lot of times you'll say, great, where are you going? What is this going to look like? Well, I want to do this with my business and I want to do that. It's just not ambitious. It's not exciting. So when I started my company, Bike Wagon, it actually came on the tail of a 6-week trip that I took from Canada to Mexico. Me and my friends rode our bikes from Canada to Mexico, and I was pumped, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur because I knew that if I went and got a regular job, I would never be able to have those amazing adventures again. So I was so driven to create a company that could allow me to take long adventures. So I had this huge ambition, and it really, from the get-go, was a big ambition. It was to be able to own a company that was making me a lot of money so I could sustain myself and more and prepare for retirement and, retire early by the time I was, 30, 35. Everybody has these big 30-year-old goals, right? I essentially retired when I was 33, so I was a little later than my 30-year-old goal. But I had this big goal, and it was ambitious. And so what it made me do, because it was so big, Jim Collins in his book Good to Great, he talks about having a BHAG, a big, hairy, and audacious goal. So you want to have a big goal. You don't want to have a humdrum goal that doesn't get you up in the morning. You want to have a big goal. And what this big goal did for me is it helped shape how I hired people, how I trained people, how I leveraged people, because I knew that I was creating a company that would allow me to go and leave and travel the world for months on end. That's what I was doing from the beginning. So if you just have a business goal to, make $100,000 a year and you're going to be doing most of the work, maybe that's not exciting enough for you, and maybe you're much more capable to be able to create a bigger goal, to be able to create something even greater than that. So success killer number 4 that I notice is people's lives are out of balance. And just get it, right? We say we're entrepreneurs, we own our own business, but really our life's a mess. And this actually really hit home for me. In 2014, I was on a 2-month trip with my family. And for the first several weeks of that trip, I was kind of unwinding and getting back on the trip. And I realized that I spent a lot of time at home just working and a slave to my job. But I figured, Dale, you're in charge of this place. You're the boss. You have 25 employees that you can leverage and work with. What gives? What are you doing? But at the time, I felt that journal writing, for example, was important. I felt that reading in my scriptures was important. I felt that exercising was important. I'd always wanted to learn French. I've all these different things, right? But I wasn't spending time on them. I was very much under-investing in these different roles in my life. So on that trip, I actually doubled down and recommitted and found a way to make sure that I never fell back again. And I can say 5 years later that I've continued to do that. Je peux parler le français. Okay, like I can speak French all right, very poorly. But that was my goal. I want to be able to speak French. I started writing in my journal and I started doing a lot of these other things. I'm actually more fit now as a 36-year-old than I was as a 32-year-old. So there were all these little changes that I made, and I introduced more balance into my life. So most business owners, they own a business, but they really are owned by their business. They think they have a business, but they really just have a job. So that's one of the success killers, is they set up a business to create all of these things for them, but they don't get the benefit out of the business that they were really hoping to, because they lack some of the perspective and some of the tools to make that happen. Success killer number 5 is entrepreneurs and business owners don't learn to leverage the resources that they have. And mostly when I talk about resources, I talk about other employees. So you really need to raise up people that can run your business for you. You don't need to be the smartest one in the room. You shouldn't be. When I was actually at this time in 2014, while I wasn't investing in a lot of my personal roles as well as I should, since I had that big audacious goal as a 21-year-old, I only worked 15 minutes a day while I was out and about for 2 months. So all my people, I had a team of people that I leveraged and that I enabled to work for me. So it's so important to invest and build your people. So it's a team effort. It's a partnership. You're not the boss and everybody else is your subjects. You're not the king, they're not the peasants. You are team members, and it's your job and your responsibility to get the most out of their potential. That means building them up and enabling them to be rock stars in their job. You're not tying them down, you're not controlling them. They can leave anytime they want, but they stay because you invest in them and you continue to give them benefit. You continue to turn them in to amazing workers. So a lot of the mindset that I used at Bike Wagon was I wanted to run my business in a way that if it were to just disappear overnight, all of my people would be able to go get equal or better jobs anywhere else. Because we worked in such a way that we were just rock stars. We were doing good quality work all the time. And that's the mindset that you want to push onto your people, is you don't want to keep them there. You want to invest in them, and you want to do everything you can to make them valuable in the workplace, in the workforce. And because you're giving all of that to them, they're going to give you loyalty back. So that's how it works. Those are the 5 success killers that I've seen in CEOs and business owners and entrepreneurs, that if you can fix those, that your business is going to be a lot more successful. So Adventure Anyway especially in our mastermind group, we go through all of this content, teach people, and we've come up with really cool ways to deliver and give this training for free or for a lot less. So thank you for being here, and I appreciate it. Again, this video is unlisted, so we're not really commenting or doing anything else, but I'm glad that you're here, and I hope you got value out of this. If you have any questions for me personally, feel free to reach out, whether that's on Facebook through the group or by email. You can reach me at dale@weavecommerce.com. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time.